Good evening, everyone. I think over the past 1.5 hours or so, we have seen how the hydrogen ecosystem is evolving, and I note that when I came in, the room was full, and now we have the froth has sort of gone away. The same is happening in the hydrogen market. 2 years, 3 years ago, there were a lot of enthusiasm, and everyone was talking about hydrogen as if it's a miracle solution to all our energy problems. And now reality has struck, and over the past year or so, I think there has been a tapering of market expectations. And what we see is that the froth has gone away, which is actually a good thing for the market. So let me start by a short introduction. I work with the UN High-Level Climate Champions team. I'll talk about some of the roles. I've been given 10 minutes, so I'll quickly rush this through. I'm based in Dubai, and we work closely with GH2 Global as well as GH2 India. I have 2 slides on each of these, starting with global assessment on progress of the hydrogen economy, followed by what the UN High-Level Champions do. And I'll talk a bit more on the breakthrough agenda, with the work which I coordinate, and specifically then over to hydrogen breakthrough and some of the COP29 outcomes which we facilitate. So I heard a lot of positive things about how India is the market to be, but let's contextualize it in the global domain. And you know that the global hydrogen market is about 100 million tons, of which only 1% is green, which is about 1 million tons. And there has been a good growth, about 50% since 2021. And we see the pipeline of projects to the tune of about 4.6 million tons. But where are they coming from? They're coming from the US. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen now. They're coming from Europe. They're coming from China. But I see only 1% of the FIDs of projects coming from India. So that's the helicopter view or the global picture, because we work globally on hydrogen sector. And this is the latest report, and if you see it was released about 2 weeks ago from Bloomberg NEF. And there, if you look at how the market expectations have moderated, from a tune of about $50 billion, which was committed in 2023. Let me see if I can use so about $50 billion committed in 2023. The big hit has been actually taken by EMEA, Europe, Middle East and Africa. And it has actually gone down to less than half. And this is the first time over the past few years that EMEA has been relegated to the second spot. But on the bright side of things, investments in APAC, Asia and Pacific, have actually doubled. So if you see this red, so there's a bright spot in China and India, and that's how my assessment of the global hydrogen ecosystem is. I'll move on from talking a bit about what the climate champions, who they are and what they do. And in 2015 at Paris, it was decided that the entry point of or the signatories to the Paris Agreement are actually countries. And there is no role for non-state actors, which includes businesses, think tanks, non-state actors, including subnational actors, governments of states. And therefore, it was decided to have 2 high-level champions on a rotating basis, appointed by the COP presidency countries. About 3 years ago, we formed a team, and now we are a team of about 80 global professionals located across the world. And these are political appointees by the COP presidency countries. Her Excellency Razan Al Mubarak has just relinquished her post, and we are awaiting the appointment of the new COP, the new high-level champions from the Brazilian presidency. And their role is to integrate the perspectives of non-state actors into UNFCCC negotiations. And how do we do it? We try and mobilize climate action. Of course, at the center are the UNFCCC negotiations, but there is a non-party stakeholder component who actually engage with the process, and this is done through the high-level champions team. We also lead on the Marrakesh partnership, which is another work stream of the high-level champions. Plus, we are present at all COPs, several of these regional climate weeks, and then we have global mobilization and outreach efforts, such as this one. So these were the two slides on the UN high-level champions, and one of the initiatives which we support is the breakthrough agenda. This was started in 2021 at Glasgow, and primarily this is a platform for international collaboration. And it's headquartered in the UK DNZ, which is the UK Government Energy Secretariat. And essentially the premises is that there can be an exponential growth in clean energy technologies. And that is the sense of working together. And I heard several of the participants in the last panel talking about how we need to collaborate, how do we need to work on international partnership. And that's the aim of the breakthrough agenda, to work together to make clean technologies and sustainable solutions the most affordable, accessible and attractive option by 2030. This is the present status of the breakthrough agenda. As I said, it was launched at COP26, owned and led by Global North and Global South countries. And we move from COP to COP centric process. Currently, 61 countries have formal signatories to this, with Singapore and Kazakhstan joining at COP29 to this initiative. These are the 7 sectors on which we work, and incidentally, these are the co-lead countries for each of these sectors. The goals of each sector are shown here. The number of signatories are also shown here, and then we have a sector facilitator which are positioned in each of these organizations. For example, IRENA, the ICCT, UNIDO, IPHE, of course most of you would be knowing this, working in the hydrogen space, and they are coordinating this entire global effort to catalyze international cooperation. Incidentally, India is the co-lead country for both hydrogen as well as the road transport sector, and MNRE is a nodal focal point for the hydrogen breakthrough agenda. So what do we do? What does the breakthrough agenda do? It's an annual COP-centric process, and it starts with a production of a report, which is the breakthrough agenda report. And every year we do this with the IEA, in which we assess. We also track the progress of several of the priority actions. We assess what is the state of play in the sectors. And then we analyze the gaps and thereafter give recommendations. Those recommendations are adopted in form of international priority actions. And last year they were called the Baku International Priority Actions, which are agreed and signed by all signatory countries. And the signatory countries are supposed to advance them through the year and thereafter report at the end of the year, and then we do the assessment report. So that's how the process works, and of course we have several partnerships with WBCSD, Mission Innovation, Clean Energy Ministerial, as well as with the COP presidency countries. So let me now come on to specifically to the hydrogen breakthrough, and the aim of the hydrogen breakthrough is to make affordable, renewable and low carbon hydrogen globally available by 2030. Very ambitious goal, but that's what the net zero transition needs. And there are 5 key themes of the hydrogen breakthrough, and those are on standards and certification, demand creation and management, research and innovation, finance and investment, and the last one is more of an administrative nature to actually map which all organizations are doing what in that space. So let me spend some time here, because we've heard a lot about demand creation, about standards and interoperability of standards. as well as issues regarding finance and investment. So this slide actually shows all of these priority actions which are existing to date. The 2025 objectives, which were adopted, as I said, at COP29, and which are the coordinating initiatives. So for standards and certifications, we closely work with, or IPHE, based in Switzerland, is the coordinating initiative for this, and for several others, demand creation is led by RMI and FMC, the First Mover Coalition, based at, again, Switzerland. And then, of course, we have the Mission Innovation Clean Hydrogen Mission and World Bank and UNIDO contributing and leading on the aspect of finance and investment. So some of the key outcomes which have been there and which we see that are essential to progress the global access to clean hydrogen by 2030 are first standards and certification. And there we facilitated the study by IPHE, and this is about comparison of hydrogen certification schemes. It compares about 17 odd different schemes, and you know that there are 35 odd certification schemes globally, but how do they are not interoperable, or they don't know, including, there are challenges in boundary conditions and so on. So this study, which is a 70-page study, actually talks about, which scheme is considering what all aspects. And of course, there's also the Green Hydrogen Organization and GH2 standards which have been assessed. So essentially, this is the key, because if we need to coordinate and enable international trade in the hydrogen space, then every scheme, there should be mutual recognition, there should be interoperability, and there should be an acceptance of standards from several countries. And lastly, I'll just talk about the COP29 Hydrogen Declaration, which all of you, I'm sure, are aware of. And here, the focus is on renewable and zero emission or low carbon hydrogen production. Of course, there has been a pressure from a lot of other countries, especially in the MENA region, to include, gray hydrogen or other forms of hydrogen. But we are clear that it needs to be, some sort of clean hydrogen or low carbon hydrogen production. And also there's targeting on specific end-use sectors, and some of those sectors have been defined in the 2023 Breakthrough Agenda report, including it's clearly understood that fertilizers, chemicals, and some of these sectors are the first use case priority for hydrogen. Thereafter, some of the key highlights which I wanted to mention here is directly from the Breakthrough Agenda or the Hydrogen Breakthrough, where you will see that it's about demand creation, accelerating standards, supporting financial and technical assistance. Many people talked about reskilling. There's talk about, of course, global trade, R&D, and derivatives, and how there's an opportunity for all countries to integrate some of these plans into their national action plans, which are to be submitted this year. It was a political statement, but it had good traction. It received about 54 countries had signed to it. Unfortunately, India was not the one which signed on this statement, but there were also 47 non-state actors, including India Hydrogen Alliance, which signed up to this COP declaration. And we'll follow up at COP30 with a high-level statement further taking this forward. So I've come to my last slide, which talks about a bit of some of the conclusions. I did mention the role of high-level champions and the breakthrough agenda, and how it is giving you a platform to an international platform for countries as well as for non-state actors, and localizing this agenda amongst different regions is one of our priorities. The second is there is a pathway or entry point into these negotiations by participating in some of these roundtable discussions and taking up some of these key work streams which are coordinated by some of the leading organizations. And thirdly, we need to build up political momentum and action in real economy. We are focused on, how do we integrate real action, not something in declarations and commitments. That will be all. Thank you so much for your time.